a bit later on. Now, earlier on we'd mentioned that we'll be talking about a process that the government has started to merge 6 financial organizations to set up one strong financial institution. Some of the organizations currently run parallel functions and sometimes perform overlapping roles. One of these institutions is the Youth Enterprise Development Fund that's mentioned as part of the 6. And joining me in studio is the chairperson to talk about that move by the government and the challenges that young people face in this day and age in Kenya when it comes to finding access to credit in this country. Now joining me in studio to talk a little bit about this is Ronnie Osumba, the chairperson of the Youth Enterprise Development Fund. Many thanks indeed for finding time to be here with us.
Thank you, and good morning.
I appreciate it. Good morning to you. Yeah, we're still
good morning.
It's still good morning. You're right. First things first, briefly, your take on this move by the government to consolidate the 6 different entities into one major lending company. I want to get your thoughts on that because it will have a big impact on the body that you chair.
Yes, and thank you for having us this morning. I think we must put this into context, that the president set up a task force for the mergers of parastatals in 2013. The task force produced a report, and one of the recommendations of the task force was to merge the affirmative action funds in 2013. But there were recommendations to merge other parastatals as well. You might be aware that in the agriculture sector, that merger has happened successfully, and we now have one organization that was collapsed from 13. Based on that experience and the learnings from that merger, the Jubilee administration promised in their manifesto that they are going to collapse the affirmative action funds into one Biashara fund for the 2017 election. That was an election promise. So the process has now started. There has been established by the Treasury a task force to look at the merger of some of these institutions. The process is ongoing.
Yes.
And I think we're jumping the gun, trying to figure out how this is going to look like. I think we need to allow the task force to do its job so that it comes out with its recommendations, and then we know how their way forward is.
So personally, you don't give your views now on whether you think it's a good idea or not for this to happen?
Well, let us put it this way, that the president has a responsibility to organize and reorganize government so that he can deliver services.
That's a safe answer. I'll leave it for that. And we have some graphics that I want us to play now.
Yeah.
The mandate of the Youth Enterprise Development Fund is to provide financial and business development support services to youth-owned enterprises.
Correct.
But some of your customers who I have spoken to say that you are not fulfilling that mandate. Let's talk about the cost of a Youth Enterprise Development Fund loan. The graphics are on your screen. If I have land of 500,000 Kenya shillings that I want to use as security, I come to you and you'll only give me up to 70% of its value. From what I've been told by your customers, I've done my research, it's about 350,000. In addition, you'll ask me to get a valuer to go and value that land that's from your organization. At least, that could be, give or take, about 35,000 Kenya shillings. There's a legal charge of these are estimates again, 40,000 Kenya shillings. Let's take a look at the next page as well. There's something called consent, between 2,000 to 10,000 Kenya shillings. There's loan insurance, about 2,000 Kenya shillings. And these are people who've gotten loans from you. There's a charge, 1% on disbursement. So give or take, of the 350,000 that you give me, I will have spent about 100,000, almost 100,000 in some of the charges, etc. Then this loan, if I want maybe 1 million shillings, could take up to 3 months. Is that efficient, Chairperson?
I don't know where you get these numbers from.
I've spoken to it's your customers. It's your customers.
Well, you should have spoken to us.
That's why you're here now.
Absolutely.
Do you deny those figures?
Some of those figures don't look realistic.
For example?
You've talked about, so we, first and foremost, let us put this in context. We have different categories of loans. So you have group loans.
This was the VUCA loan, for example.
So this is the VUCA loan
yes.
as a working capital loan for an established enterprise.
Yes.
Now, an established enterprise that comes to us and wants a facility between 100,000 to 2 million maximum, right, has to, number one, secure the facility, right? Now, they have to provide either a title or logbook or whatever security they will provide. We have to charge that collateral, so in a manner of speaking. There is a cost to that, all right? We have a panel of lawyers who charge between 5,000 to 10,000 shillings, not 40,000 shillings. Now, if you choose to use, you know, a different lawyer, then that is something.
So the customers who gave me these figures, they were misdirected.
Absolutely.
Or maybe
we can provide these charges for you.
Okay.
I mean, we have a panel of lawyers. We have negotiated fees for all our customers. So if you use our panel of lawyers, then you're fine.
And again, a headline, and I wish I'd been able to pull out for you, in the Sunday Standard on the 4th of June 2017, the title read, "Youth Fund awash with cash, but no willing takers." When I look at some of those processes, last year, and I'll be able to provide that for you, it's something that's in the graphics. Data shows that the fund started 11 years ago to offer loans to small-scale businesses, has lent out only 11 billion to 1 million youths across the 47 counties. Your processes, again, complaints, and you can go to your Facebook page as well. Young people complain, it takes too long. Could it be because of that process? Could it be because of some of the things that have been put in place? How can we simplify the process of lending money to young people?
Okay. So we must look at this again in context. So historically, it has taken 3 months, for example, for a loan to be processed. This has now changed. All right? So since the new board was instituted 1.5 years ago, okay, we have automated processes, we have redesigned the products, okay, we have actually reduced a lot of the requirements for some of those products. We've introduced new products to address different needs from our customers.
Okay.
Okay, and now the turnaround time for a loan should be about 2 weeks. If you have property to be charged, so it means you're going for the working capital facility, it will take slightly longer because of processes that are not within our control. We have to charge the title, you have to do a search, you know, we have to depend on the lands board to expedite the process. So that might take slightly longer, possibly 4 weeks, possibly 5 weeks.
Okay.
Okay. So there's a lot of things that are not within our control. But I must tell you now, you know, you talked about the Youth Fund being awash with cash. When I joined the Youth Fund in 2016, June 2016, we actually had a surplus. And I went publicly and I told young people, look, we have money, come and get the funds. A lot of them gave us feedback and said, it's too difficult to get these funds. We don't know where to access. So we went on a sensitization drive. We set up Sauti 47 as a platform. We've reached out to almost all the counties. Sauti 47 has gone around the country. We covered 37 counties.
Okay.
At a minimum.
Okay. Okay.
Now, let me tell you the impact of the...
Briefly.
Very briefly.
Please.
The impact of the changes that we have put in place is that when I joined the fund in June 2016, we were lending about 20 million shillings a month. Today, as we speak, I have a good problem. We're lending about 120 million shillings a month. All right? So that's like 500% increment.
To fresh applicants.
And even to repeat.
Okay, so policies from your head office are good, and we've seen that even with the national government where policies and directives are given, but their implementation is a completely different matter. We've received a complaint from a youth officer, at least one of your representatives in Bondo constituency, where they only show up at work 2 or 3 days a week. You need an appointment to see them. They have no office. They say they don't have an office there. This is a person you cannot reach easily. How do you handle situations like that? How do you convince youth in that constituency that the Youth Fund works when they can't even access the representative?
So one of the challenges that
First of all, are you aware of that?
Sorry?
Is this news to you? Have you received such complaints?
From Bondo?
For example, yes.
I wouldn't know. I don't manage staff affairs at the Youth Fund.
Okay.
But what I can tell you is, yes, we have received feedback from a lot of young people that our offices are not accessible. Right? We have 280 offices across the country. Every constituency has an officer. Because of attrition, you know, whether resignation or sometimes we have constituencies where there is no officer present. Right? We try to cover those gaps as quickly as we possibly can. However, the structure has not been efficient. It has not been fit for purpose. So one of the things we have done is we've restructured the fund. We are in the process of, you know, populating the new structure, but of course, because of transition of government, we have had to slow down.
Does restructuring the fund affect how young people will be able to access your offices?
Absolutely, because everything is about process, people, systems.
If young people cannot access their offices, how can they make complaints formally? How can they reach you, for example?
So I think the touch points within the youth fund today
Yes.
are our officers at the constituency level, but we also have regional offices. Again, not very efficient because we haven't fully devolved to the counties. So our regional offices, we have 14 regional offices.
14.
14.
Okay.
But in the new structure, we are moving to all the 47 counties. And we've already started establishing an office in every county. That said, we also have presence at Huduma centers. So again, you can have a touch point at Huduma Center. So if you have any issue, you can go to Huduma Center. Most importantly, we have now established a digital platform that allows young people to access us digitally on the phone.
Okay. Do you believe that Youth Fund offers a better product to young people than getting a loan from a bank?
Absolutely, any day, any time.
Even though you lend on flat rate per annum, you're not on reducing balance? So 6% is what you lend at, and if you compare that with a bank, 13 to 14% per annum reducing balance, why can't you lend youth loans that they would repay on a reducing balance? It would be cheaper for them.
Compounded, that is going to be very difficult. But if you think about how, for example, SACCOs lend, it's always on a straight line balance, right?
You're an affirmative action fund. You're supposed to be going the next mile.
This is precisely why, and by the way, straight line balance rates in the long run are cheaper than on reducing balance.
For who? For the lender or for the borrower?
For the lender. Because it's for the borrower. But my point is this. The affirmative, you see, the point of affirmative action is to make access easy. Remember, there's a cost to money. There's a cost to lending. And this 6% that we charge is actually supposed to meet the cost of the revolving fund. So, because it's a revolving fund, it's supposed to be a stable fund and sustainable. Okay? So we charge 6% on specific facilities.
Okay.
Most of our facilities, 50% of our portfolio, is actually on 0%. All right? So that is for group lending. For group lending, 0%.
Okay. That directive by State House is that all activities be frozen in the 6 corporations that were mentioned that will be merged. What does that then mean for business at your development fund? What can you now do?
You're being sensational.
No, I'm not. It was the statement from PSCU.
The statement from the head of public service is advising the institutions that are being considered for merger to take precaution on specific areas. For example,
but he did
acquisition of assets.
Okay.
No, we have to be clear, right?
Okay, go ahead.
Acquisition of assets, for example, then you have to ensure that that no new recruitments, all right?
Okay.
No filling of positions.
That I read also.
In boards and in the organization. Okay, so it's precautionary measure. We are saying don't make any fundamental changes in the institutions between now and when the merger will occur, which is taking precautionary measure. It does not say no activities at the institutions. The Youth Fund is fully operational. We are serving our customers. So is Uwezo, so is Women Fund, so is MCEA, so is KIE and every other institution.
So young people can still access your facilities.
Absolutely, 100%.
Why do some of your products take 3 months to mature, for example? If I go to a bank now, maximum 21 days, I can get, if I have the right documents and everything, I can get my loan. 3 months for certain products, and again, these are your customers.
Absolutely. And, we receive a lot of this feedback.
Yes.
And like I've already said, there are a lot of inefficiencies in terms of how we are structured, right? Which we are fixing. But technically, we have actually reduced the turnaround time from 3 months to 3 weeks. I've already said this. In the exceptional cases where you have a loan prolonging, like I said, sometimes and most of the time, it is because some of the processes are beyond our control.
What are you going to do about the so-called the files are missing?
We are automating. It is a completely...
So your customers who say, you know what, every time I go there, they tell me 3 files were missing, 4 files were missing, mine was one of them.
Let me tell you
know that those complaints are
there. Let me tell you, yesterday I was dealing with such a case, actually.
Just yesterday?
Just yesterday. Right? I find this girl, she's crying in the corridors, and she's saying, my file is missing. It's completely unacceptable, and, I mean, in this day and age, when we are supposed to be, fully digitized and automated, it's unacceptable. What we've done... Is
it a metaphor for your file is missing, meaning you need to pay something to get your file out?
No, it's just that your file is missing.
Did you investigate it?
Absolutely. It's just that, everything is manual, held in files. We have almost 50% completed our automation process today. Okay, we have invested in a new ERP platform. For the 10 years that Youth Fund was in existence, it didn't have an ERP platform. Today we are one of the funds who now have a modern ERP platform. We are migrating all our data into the platform. Hopefully soon we go live.
Okay.
Right? Once we go live, there will be no more cases of missing files.
What are you doing to change the misconception that the Youth Fund only lends to well-established SMEs? I believe that the mandate of the Youth Fund when it was formed was that it would target Mama Mboga, your hawker, that those are the people who would benefit from your services. But right now, and again speaking to customers, the feeling is that the Youth Fund is looking for a business that in a sense is already working to fund it. How do you get information to Mama Mboga who doesn't have documents, who doesn't have records? How are they going to provide those requirements that your body asks for?
We need to have this conversation from a policy perspective. We have small, medium, and micro enterprises. Okay, who do we want to service? Which institutions do we want to service? Who?
I believe it is those who cannot go to the bank, those who cannot be served by other financial sectors or other financial bodies that would then should benefit.
And who are those? In my view, they sit across the spectrum. So they are either small, they are either medium, or micro, right? So we cannot say it's only for Mama Mbogas, because we are also saying there's a small institution, enterprise of a young person who's employed 4 people who requires working capital of 2 million to help them facilitate the growth of that institution. They also require that facility, all right? So what we've tried to do is develop a portfolio of products that addresses the full spectrum of the SME. Okay. So
are you going to relax your regulations?
It's a chicken and egg game.
Are you going to relax your regulations? Is there a plan to do that, to make it easier for people to borrow?
We are constantly reviewing our requirements.
Okay.
We have, I think, made it much more easier to access our facilities in the last 2 years.
Okay, you say that, but when I look at security margins, I'm told that if I bring a car to you to use the security, it has to be 10 years or younger. Even my own car is not 10 years. So it means that Youth Fund would not accept my vehicle. So I'm trying to think of a young person.
Even mine.
Or even you. So how's that going to happen? Yeah, young people don't have cars that are 2007 and newer. A lot of them would be 2002, 2019, 90s.
Agreed. Again, what we have been doing, and this is very proactively, is that what we need to have is a credit guarantee scheme. That is precisely what is
Are you telling me
fix
as the solution, or is it something that you're working to implement?
Very proactively. This is what I'm telling you.
Okay.
And hopefully, this is going to be reality soon. A credit guarantee scheme is eventually the solution to addressing the issue of collateral. There is no other way. There is, even when we are doing affirmative action, you see, there's a perception that because we're an affirmative action fund, we don't need to secure the finance. There is a money principle.
Okay.
If it is not secured, if you have no flesh in it, you will not pay it.
Okay. We don't have too much time on our side. The ghosts of the corruption scandals of 2016 that plagued your institution, have they been exorcised? Can you tell us that the institution now is well managed financially? And of course, we also ask questions about that those who are implicated in those cases. We don't know whether they went through the full process. Of course, we believe for some, their cases are still stuck in court. Where are we in regards to that?
I cannot respond to the issue of the cases because that is not my purview in any event. A lot of those cases are in court. Okay? But in terms of the status of the institution, I can tell you
the measures that you put in place when you joined.
Absolutely. I can tell you today confidently that the fund is well managed. The governance structures are now working properly. It is unlikely that you will hear any noise coming from Youth Fund in the next couple of weeks, months or so.
Okay.
Because we have now a proper working relationship between the board and the management. We have instituted proper working board committees that provide oversight. Our audit processes are now better established. And so we are keeping track of every transaction within the Youth Fund. I think we are now getting value for money. Like I said, the one index that we can use to measure the success of all the reforms that we have instituted is the fact that today we are lending 120 million shillings a month, while previously we were only doing about 20 million.
Okay. My final question to you, two things in one: success rate of the businesses you've lent to and your loan repayment rate.
Yeah.
We've heard that both are rather on the lower side. Can you confirm or deny that? Loan repayment rate, I think, was at 33% in a certain area from some statistics I saw. What can you tell us?
I don't know where you get the statistics from. You should be checking them with us before you put them out here. But the loan repayment rate...
I'm protecting my sources. Go ahead.
The loan repayment rate, when we joined, was at about 67%.
67%. Okay,
right?
but that's nationally.
That's national.
Not county or constituency.
No. That is nationally across. There are constituencies that are doing very well. For example, Kiambu County, which is absolutely phenomenal, is at 112%.
Is that even possible?
It is possible, because it means they've overpaid. All right, so we are holding liability there. All right, and then there are some counties that are just doing terribly at the bottom of the food chain. But overall, countrywide, the repayment rate has now gone up to about 80%. Again, because we've instituted a lot of measures to recover the finances. And if you look at portfolio by portfolio, we have a very toxic portfolio that was lent between 2007 and 2010.
Okay.
Which was then, at that time, looked at as campaign money. So a lot of that is from that period, 2007 to 2010. And then we had the agri product, which didn't perform very well, had a very high rate of failure. That contributes to the 20% that we are not able to. But if you remove those two, then the repayment rate is about 95%, which is industry standard.
Okay.
On the issue of success rate, you must understand that we deal with a segment that has a very high failure rate anyway. Okay, so we have a lot of challenge, and this is now the challenge that we have to address as an affirmative action fund. But is the challenge only financing? No, it isn't. It's business support, it's coaching, it's mentorship, it's
and it's up to you to provide all that support to the young people.
Absolutely.
Finally, if there are young people now watching us across the country who are saying the representative of your office in our constituency, in our county, is not doing their job, they need to be changed, they need to be checked, how can they reach you? Is there a way that they can raise those complaints? An email or something? People watching across the country, I give you an example of Siaya, Bondo as well, complaints about the stuff there. How can they escalate that to your head office?
Absolutely, they can write us an email on info@youthfund.go.ke.
Are you going to read that email, Chairperson?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm on
national TV.
I'm on national TV. If you tweet us, if you Facebook us, I always respond. If you tag me at Ronio Sumba on Twitter, I will personally respond.
You will personally respond.
And take action.
A man is as good as his word.
Thank you, sir.
I'll hold you to that. Thank you so much, the Chairperson of the Youth Enterprise Development Fund, for finding time to be here with us. He has a launch you need to get to, and so we'll release him at this time. Shortly, we'll be taking you to Mombasa, the coast, where County Commander Nelson Marwa is about to address members of the press, I believe, about Operation Rudisha Watoto Shuleni, Peleka Watoto Shuleni, and that should be happening shortly. You've seen everything is set up, and we'll be bringing that to you live in just a bit. But before that...